good evening.
Oh, there she
Thank
is.
you
Oh,
for
please don't.
joining us. If you don't know us already, we are the Friends of Tower Hamlets Cemetery Park, and we are a small charity that works to protect Tower Hamlets Cemetery Park in London, and we also help to encourage others to use green spaces in other places in Tower Hamlets as well. So I'm Michelle, my colleagues are here as well. We've got Ken in the Santa hat, we've got Claire, and we have Susanna as well. So what we're going to do is we've got a slideshow that we're going to use for the quiz. We have 4 different rounds, and each round has 5 questions each. They're on a slightly different theme, all of them, and then you've got 1 point per question. We'll let you do your own answers at the end. We trust you all to be lovely, honest people. So just some etiquette before we get started. You're all on mute automatically. If you can just keep yourselves on mute while we do the quiz, just because it can be a bit distracting otherwise if we hear everyone's background noise. You can leave your videos on if you want to, but you can turn them off if you want. We are recording this session, but don't worry, none of you are being filmed. It's only the person that's speaking and the slideshow. Obviously, if any of you turn on your microphones during the quiz, then you will appear in the video. So if you don't want that to happen, just keep that off. Also, can you please keep the annotations off, because there is an option to draw on the screen, but if it's best not to do that, just so we don't get distracted. And also I always get worried someone's going to write something really rude, but all of us can see it. And I think that is pretty much it. If you want to put if you have a team name, or maybe you can try and come up with one really quickly, you can type that into the chat. And wow, Mum is on it already. Dawlish Daredevils, amazing. If you want to put your team name into the chat, and also where you are coming in from, where are you dialing in from? And I think that's it. Did I miss anything? No.
No, that's all good. It's all there. You've got it all.
Great. Love it. Yorkshire Puddings. What a good team name.
Thanks, Mum, for representing Yorkshire for us. Right.
Shall we get on with the first round?
Cool, I guess I'm taking over from you then, Michelle. So I am doing your first round this evening. Our first round is on festive traditions. So some of these are from Britain and some of them are from further afield. So could you go to our first question, Ken? Lovely, thank you, Ken. So question 1, what is the most popular food to eat on Christmas Day in Japan? Now I've made this round all multiple choice to get you eased into it. So option A is torikatsu and miso soup. Option B is KFC, C is roast dinner, and D is tonkotsu ramen. Does anyone need me to repeat that, or are we all happy seeing it on the screen? Cool, I'll just give you a minute to answer and then we'll move on to question 2. Are we all ready? Some thumbs up? Brilliant. So can we move on to question 2, please, Ken? So question 2, what year was the first Christmas card sent in the UK? Was it A, 1804, B, 1912, C, 1628, or D, 1843? We ready for the next one?
I think you should read what it says on the bottom of the card, Claire. It's very sweet.
Oh, I don't know if I can actually see it on my screen.
I can read it. It says, "May Christmas come to thee with angels' wings." I'm just trying to imagine how that all happens. Sounds amazing.
That is not the first Christmas card, by the way. That is just a random Victorian Christmas card I found on the internet. So, right, next one, if that's all right, Ken. Question 3. Which country gifts the Trafalgar Square Christmas tree to the UK every year? Is it A, Poland, B, France, C, Norway, or D, Finland? Lovely. Shall we move on to the next one? So, in parts of Germany and Austria, Krampusnacht is celebrated on the 5th of December. What is the Krampus said to do to children who have been naughty during the year? Is it A, leave them sweets in a shoe, B, strike them with sticks, C, hide their toys, or D, eat them? And again, you've got a lovely Victorian Krampus just there for you to enjoy. Lovely, and we'll just move on to the last question in my round. So question 5, in Victorian England, the smoking bishop was a popular Christmas drink. What was it made of? Was it A, hot red wine, port, oranges and cloves, B, ale, apples, sugar and cream, C, hot cider, egg yolk and spices, or D, coffee and Irish cream? And these are all real drinks, so you just have to guess which one's the smoking bishop. Lovely. Are we all ready for round 2? Fab.
All right, so this is all Susanna now. So let me know when you're ready, Susanna.
Yes, sorry, I hadn't quite clocked it. It was already round 2. Hello. So it's winter sounds. So all you really need to do is play it and listen. I haven't got much to say at this point. Ken, if you could go to the next slide and just hopefully press play and it works. No. Uh-oh. I think you might have to press it. Yeah.
Do the pictures help, or are they
No.
errands? No.
No, they do not. I think, yeah, let's just go to the next slide. I'm sure people can had their chance. This one's a bit longer. I think you probably don't want to play the whole thing. Yeah, go for it. Ignore the human voice bit. I was struggling to find the sound file. I think that'll do. Do you want even more? It is quite noisy.
So do we need to clarify that these are all nature noises? Like, are they?
Yeah, they are all things you could find outside. Let's put it that way. They're all sort of wintry nature sounds. We move on to sign 3. There we go. I think it's a little bit more pleasant after the previous one. Next. Yeah, go on. If you came to the previous quiz, you might remember this one, but we'll go into detail about this later on. Yeah, go on. Well, that'll do. So for the next slide, do ignore the humans. It's not about the humans. It's about the things you can hear in the background. Also not about the bells. There's some animal sounds. Give it a go. I don't think we need to play that again. I think it was enough time to.
It reminds me of Ski Sunday, for those of you that remember that. And everyone, you would go up, 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 and then, that's what it reminds me of. I want to see a skier.
I'm too foreign for this. Sorry, Ken. And that was it for the science round. On to Ken, I think, or is it Michelle?
It's me. It's my round. So yeah, my round is a guess who round. It's just pictures, and your job is to guess what it is as close as you can, really. So let's go to the first one, so you get an idea of what we're asking you to guess. So what is it? So I'll leave that on there for a moment.
Now, because we actually have people from all the way in Greece, if or anyone else, if you're coming in from anywhere other than the UK, if you know the names of any of these plants in another language, then please feel free to use that. And then we trust you to look it up afterwards just to check your answers.
Yeah. It's always nice to hear what other people know things in another language. This is always really interesting. So anyway, move on to the next one. So what is that?
To what level of detail would you like the answer to this, Ken?
Well, I mean, if people know exactly what it is, that would be ideal. But if they can guess what kind of thing it is, that would be acceptable as well, I think.
No half points though.
No half points. No, full points. And these were all pictures from the cemetery park. So I've been taking these over the last week, 10 days, wandering around. So they're all things you could see in the cemetery park. Look closely when you're walking around. For those of you that are close enough to visit. Happy to move on? I'll move on to picture number 3. What's that? Very tasty. That's not a clue. A few more seconds. I'll move on. And what's that? What is it? What's going on? What is it?
Do people have to say what both of the things are, or?
It's technically all one thing. So, yeah, that would be fine if they recognise what it is. But if they know what's happening, that's fine as well. But again, we're not doing bonus points. But if they can recognise what's happening, that would be really good. All right, on to the next one.
It's a good job I'm not doing this quiz, because I think I get terrible answers.
I think I failed too, Michelle.
And what's that? Somebody's chewing.
Sorry, I thought I was muted.
Yeah, I think that's my last one. I think we're then on to Michelle. So there we go. I hope you've done really well, folks. Good luck for this round. I'll hand over to Michelle. Thank you.
Huzzah. Let's get ready to rumble. Okay, so we have, yes, okay, next slide, please. Is Rudolph the reindeer male or female? So, and this also counts for all the other reindeer that belong to Santa. Male or female? This photo will give you no clues, by the way. Okay, are we ready for the next one? Some thumbs up? People are looking very perplexed. Got some thumbs up? Yeah, we're going to go for it. Next one, please. What Central American plant is sold in masses at this time of year? We've got people pointing to theirs. I've got a lovely model of one here. If you know the common name, that's great. If you know the Latin name, that's great. If you know it in another language other than English, please feel free to tell us that one, and you can share with us at the end what it is if you want to. Are we okay? Ready? Super. Right, next one. What mustelid turns white in winter to camouflage? So this mustelid is usually like a brown colour with kind of like a white creamy chest, but they always have this black tip to their tail. This photo was actually taken in Yorkshire. What is the name of this mustelid? And if you don't know it from the UK, it is found elsewhere in Europe. Okay, everybody okay? Thumbs up or a bit longer? No, great. Thumbs up. Next one, please. Oh, I forgot my number on this one. What is happening when red foxes emit a blood-curdling scream at night in midwinter? What does that mean for the foxes? It sounds a little bit between a dying goat and a dying child, neither of which is pleasant. And it's pretty terrifying when it wakes you up. Okay, are we happy? Yeah, okay. Next one, please, Ken. What does the ancient Anglo-Saxon word for mistletoe, which is actually mistletoe, what does it mean? Oh, don't worry, that would be very difficult if I didn't give you options. I forgot that I've given options. Now, is it going? Oh yeah, can you press click again? I thought I was trying to do it myself. Right. Is it A, dung stick, B, berry stick, C, kiss stick, D, bird stick? The ancient Anglo-Saxon word for mistletoe. And if anyone doesn't know what the word dung means, that means poo. Hopefully the other words are self-explanatory. Just to clarify. Are we happy? Great. I think that's it then. Excellent. Now on to the answers. So I think we'll go back to you, Ken.
Yep, you will. I just need to go back to the beginning of the presentation. So I shall just quickly fly back the old school way, just like this. Really boring. Super quick. Right, there we go. So I will hand over to Claire because she was first. I'll let her do her answers. So we're going to just go back through it again. We'll read the questions, give you your answers, keep hold of your score. 1 point for every correct answer. If you do have a query, more than happy for you to turn on your mic and ask us or tap something into the chat. No problem at all. Right, okay. I'm going to hand over to you, Claire, to do your answers. So there we go. It's all yours.
Lovely. Thank you ever so much. Sorry, I'm just pulling up my screen that has the answers on it so I can tell you. Right, so the answer to question 1, what is the most popular food to eat on Christmas Day in Japan, is B, KFC. I hope lots of you got that. It's very common knowledge, obviously. Right, question 2. Should we skip through, Ken? So the first Christmas card in the UK was sent in D, 1843. The first Christmas card was sent by the founder of the V&A, Henry Cole. That's a little tidbit of information for you all. And the next one, Ken. So question 3. Which country gifts the Trafalgar Square Christmas tree to the UK every year? The answer is C, Norway. It's been an annual gift to the people of Britain from Norway as a token of gratitude for British support since the Second World War. And it travels all the way from Oslo and it is massive. Next question. So question 4, in parts of Germany and Austria, Krampusnacht is celebrated on the 5th of December. What is the Krampus said to do to children who've been naughty during the year? The answer is B, strike them with sticks. He's also said to stick them in a little backpack on his back and drag them away to hell if they've been really, really, really naughty. But the nice bit is that the next day St. Nicholas appears and gives everybody presents if they've been good. So that's the nicer side of it. And the next question, Ken. So this one, if anybody has read Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, they might have known this one. So in Victorian England, the smoking bishop was a popular Christmas drink. What was it made of? The answer is A, hot red wine, port, oranges and cloves. So it's really similar to mulled wine. Apparently it was a bit of a thing, naming drinks after church officials in a kind of a little bit of an irreligious and rampant way. Pope was Burgundy, Cardinal was champagne and Archbishop was claret. So there you go. Hope you all got the right answers. So on to you, Susanna.
every time. I need to learn to mute myself anyway, or unmute myself. Time. All right, if you want to just go to the first sound, Ken, and play it again if you like. Any short one. As you probably guessed from the splashy bit, this is ice cracking. If you've never walked across ice as it cracks, you've not lived. It's not necessarily worrying, by the way, if it's a big pond or anything. Ice just settles and it expands as water expands as it freezes. So, you know, it's not necessarily a scary sound if you're on really fast ice skates. Right, let's go to question 2. Sound number 2. Might not want to play all of it. There was a lot of it. Yeah. So that is a starling murmuration. So starlings are birds that come together in winter to find safety in numbers and food as well. So they can form groups of, I think, up to 50,000 starlings. I was going to look this up, but I'm just doing it by heart instead. Yeah, they are very, very noisy, and as they sort of specifically in the winter, they'll just form these really, really big groups. Normally, you know, you'll see them in London just on the markets in the summer. Right, let's go to the next one. Sound is a bit more rare in the UK. So this is a waxwing. According to some people, these birds sounds like little bells, they're called, but opinions vary. Anyway, so waxwings are birds that come from Scandinavia or even further east, or northeast rather. They come to the UK when it gets only every 5 to 10 years or so, when it gets way too cold up there and the food runs out. They like to get drunk in supermarkets' car parks. That is, they like to eat rowan berries, and rowan trees are often planted in car parks. And the berries ferment after a frost and they get alcoholic. So sometimes you'll see them a little bit dazed at the bottom of trees, just getting a bit too drunk. So, but apparently they have more efficient livers than humans, and they sober up really quickly. Right, next sound. Yeah, so related to Michelle's question later on, this is what a fox sounds like. Michelle, shall we elaborate later?
Don't give the answer away.
I'm I'm just telling you this is what a fox sounds like. I'm not giving you nothing else.
Just want you to hold it there.
Don't worry, I will hold it there. Right, let's go to the last sound. That'll do. I was specifically wanting you to identify the grunty sound in the background. That are reindeer. So yeah, they're very grunty. It was a whole herd of reindeer. So if you wrote down a large herd of reindeer, you have the correct answer. There were some humans herding them as well, but I told you not to write down humans. And that's it for the sounds round. So Ken, your turn.
Thank you very much, Susanna. There we go. So let's see what people got. So what is that? They are the ripening berries of ivy. So they will turn black as we get close to spring. And in the cemetery park, you can see wood pigeons doing these wonderful acrobats trying to eat the berries as they're all ripe and ready to eat. I really like ivy. Ivy's like a businessman who's noticed a gap in the market. It tends to flower when there are no other flowers and ripen its berries when there's nothing else to eat. So in the late summer, early autumn, the flowers are a great place to watch all the insects that are still around, from butterflies to hoverflies and wasps and spiders. They all seem to gather around the flowers as there's a smorgasbord of kind of pollen and nectar, and then things eating those insects visiting the flower, and then these berries go black. But pigeons weigh about the same as a bag of sugar, so it's quite hard for them to balance on the end of ivy and get hold of these berries. So it can be very noisy in the cemetery park as we get towards spring, just with birds flapping in the climbing ivy trying to eat them. So that's what that is. but they're very nice shape, aren't they? They look like they're a pudding, or like a creme brulee or something, don't they? Really shiny and glistening, very pretty. And that's ivy. So what's that? So you may have just guessed fungus. This is specifically called a candle snuff fungus, and you can find them throughout the year in the cemetery park on decaying wood. But autumn, winter time, some of the best time to see them, because they kind of look like a snuff candle. That's where they get their name. But the spores aren't actually the white part. The spores are these black parts that come off. But bearing in mind that the fungus that we see, this part is the equivalent of like an apple or a pear. It's just the fruit of the living fungus. The living fungus are hyphae that are like cotton strands stretching through living or decaying matter, depending on what the fungus consumes. So that's a very cool thing. And this little fungus was on Cantrell Road, near the Nat Road boundary. So, and the logs are in the back. So that's what that is. And they are the berries of stinking iris. And I've kind of given the funny illusion, looks like they're kind of presented quite forward, but I had to get my camera down and looking up, because they hang down off what was the flower stalk, and that skin around it was once green before the berries ripened, and then the casing opens up presenting the berries. The berries are poisonous to humans, so please don't eat them, as attractive as they look, like little cherry tomatoes. They're not that big though, about the size of a blueberry, and they're dispersed by birds. So that's what, because birds like red and black, the berries as well. So that's why those colours. Birds are attracted to those things. So very nice. And if you were to see the stinking iris berries, there's loads around in the cemetery park. The leaves are iris-like, and if you take a piece of the leaf and rip it and smell it, you'll understand why it's called stinking iris. You get various responses to the smell. Some people liking it, some people being offended by it. But the general consensus is it smells a bit like roast beef gravy. And so in some parts of the UK, it's often called roast beef plant because of the smell of the leaf when you take a section. There is a stinking iris. So what's going on here? Well, if you've got teasel, that's absolutely fine. So that's a teasel seed head. So in the summer, that was bright green with bands of light purple flowers. And what's actually happened here, this was a teasel. I mean, this can happen on erect and laying down teasel heads. This was a teasel that had fallen over, and the seeds that haven't fallen out or been eaten by goldfinches have begun to germinate in the conical flower head. So that's what's happening with the teasel head there. They're little baby teasels, but they won't survive. You know, they've germinated, but you know, unless they were pricked out and put in the ground, they're all going to die. But the best thing to do with teasel heads is to put googly eyes on them, and you've got a hedgehog. Or the thing that I like to do with them is break them off at the stalk, and they become a wild microphone. So you can do your wild podcast out in the park. And there's a teasel for you. And I'm hoping most people would get this one. This is ivy-leaved autumn cyclamen, which grows from a bulb that looks a bit like a donut. So the flower is pointing downwards there, and with those lovely kind of flaring back petals. So very pretty. And when the flower was pollinated, the actual flower stalk will coil up like a watch spring and lower itself to the ground, because the seeds are dispersed by slugs and snails, who take the seeds and kind of eat the coating on the seed and spread it. But they never get very far, cyclamen seeds. So often we'll prick out the seedlings that are under the leaves and move them around the cemetery park, because the slugs and snails tend to just eat them where they gather them. They don't seem to take them very far. There we go, ivy-leaved autumn cyclamen. There are still some out in the cemetery park. They can be white or slightly, or kind of going towards pink. Very pretty flowers, and I'm very fond of them. And there we go, there's a cyclamen. I think that's my final one. We are off to Michelle. So let me know when you're ready, Michelle, and I'll start.
I'm ready. Right then, I'm gonna blow your Christmas hats off. So, is Rudolph the reindeer male or female? Well, he's actually female. Although most of us think, yeah, we've got some cheers going on here. So Rudolph and all the rest of Santa's reindeer are actually female. Reindeer are the only deer where the females also have the antlers, but the males have dropped their antlers. They drop in late autumn, so it's only the females that have their antlers left in the winter. And so, yeah, we just automatically assume that Rudolph is a male, but actually he's a female. Or I guess you could say he might be a castrated male, but I think just we'll go with female. Very good. What Central American plant is sold in the masses this time of year? It's well, I always get a bit worried that I'm going to say it wrong, so I have to read it. But it's a poinsettia? Poinsettia? Someone tell me. Have I written it down right?
It's poinsettia is fine. That's good.
Poinsettia. When I wrote it down, I forgot the A at the end, and I second guessed myself. So yeah, they're very characteristic. Oh, we've got lots on display. If everyone's got their poinsettia, if you want to show it for all the world to know, please do. So they're typically red and green, but you actually can get different variations. They might be a dusky pink or a pale yellow colour, but this is kind of like the classic. Lovely. Next one, please. So this is actually called a stoat. Some people might get confused with weasel and stoat. This is a stoat, and then the other word for them is ermine, which I've been told. So stoat or ermine, or whatever language you want to say it in. Lovely. On we go. So what's actually happening with red foxes? It's the mating season. So the screams can be kind of the foxes kind of screaming their territory at one another, because during the mating season, obviously the males kind of need to defend their territory more against other males when they're wanting to mate with females. But also the screaming sound can come from the female herself during or around the time of actual mating. Lovely. So it's not a dying goat or child. Hopefully it's a mating red fox. And what does the ancient Anglo-Saxon word for mistletoe, which was mistletoe, what does it mean? Dung stick, berry stick, kiss stick, or bird stick? It's actually dung stick, which is actually poo stick. And the reason they came up with this name, so the mistle is the dung and the tan is the stick. And the reason they called it this was because they started to notice that the birds were eating the fruits on the mistletoe, and they were then dispersing it through their poo, and the mistletoe was growing elsewhere. So that's why it's called a dung stick. Which I think is
if you speak Dutch or my local language, Zeeuws, the mist is still used specifically for dung, as in animals, the stuff that you spread on your milk before you harvest.
Ah, very interesting.
In German as well, by the way.
I thought so.
And now I think I'm finished.